Coming up, the nation is mourning the loss of the former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, and Amazon hires NFL broadcasting legend Al Michaels. All this and more as PS News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this busy Monday night. I'm Benny Nazai.
And I'm Michael DeMarco. Let's take a look at what's happening around the world.
Madeleine Albright, the first woman U.S. Secretary of State, has died. Albright's family announced her death in a statement on Wednesday. CNN's Richard Roth takes a look at the life of a woman who will forever be remembered as a trailblazer in U.S. history.
As a diplomat, where tact and treading gingerly on contentious issues are the norm, Madeleine Albright was never one to mince words.
This is not cojones. This is cowardice.
Whether it was her colorful use of language condemning Cuba for shooting down U.S. pilots, or her strident assessment of the leader of Iraq.
I don't think the world has seen, except maybe since Hitler, somebody who is quite as evil as Saddam Hussein.
The Iraqi dictator was said to be so incensed by Albright's verbal attacks, he published a poem in Iraqi newspapers calling her an unrelenting serpent. Albright's response was one of quiet defiance. From that moment forward, she wore a brooch in the shape of a serpent at every meeting with the Iraqi leadership. And she began using her pins, as she called them, as a way of sending subtle messages without uttering a single word. Born Marie Jana Korbelova to a Czechoslovakian diplomat, Albright and her family fled the former Czechoslovakia after the Nazi invasion in 1939 and later found safe haven in the United States in 1948. She became a U.S. citizen, married media tycoon Joseph Patterson Albright, and had 3 children, all while working on her Ph.D. and learning multiple languages. In 1982, Albright took a prestigious position as Professor of International Affairs at Georgetown University. But it was the shock of her husband asking for a divorce around that same time that changed the course of her life.
There was an identity crisis. As it turns out, I think those next 10 years were the ones that were the most influential.
She poured herself into her work, becoming foreign policy advisor to then presidential candidate Bill Clinton in 1992. Clinton, in turn, tapped her for the post of U.S. ambassador to the United Nations after he won the White House.
The Democratic-led effort to pass a House bill that suspends normal trade relations with Russia by unanimous consent was blocked by Senate Republicans. GOP Senator Mike Crapo from Idaho objected to the swift passage. Although Crapo says the chamber should pass this legislation in a rapid fashion, he says a Russian energy ban needs to be included in the bill. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that ban isn't necessary because he says the actions already taken by the Biden administration are enough. Schumer also says the Republican proposal may delay the Russian oil ban from going into effect.
4 Ukrainian children with cancer are receiving treatment at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. U.S. officials say the children and some of their family members were flown to Memphis International Airport from Poland. First Lady Jill Biden will meet personally with the children on Friday. Now, according to a statement from State Department spokesperson Ned Price, the kids will be able to continue with the therapy that was put on hold in their native country due to the Russian invasion. Price also says the State Department will continue to work to get more cancer patients the medical aid they need.
As Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson enters day 3 of her Supreme Court nomination hearings, she appears to have support from a slight majority of the country. According to a Gallup poll released Wednesday morning, 58% say they'd like to see her become the 9th member of the High Court. 30% say the Senate should reject her nomination, while 12% didn't take a side. President Joe Biden nominated Jackson last month, and Democrats in the Gallup poll overwhelmingly backed her compared to their Republican counterparts. If Jackson gets successfully through the Senate, she would become the first black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. The findings of the poll are based on just over 1,000 adults during the first half of this month. before the Jackson hearings began.
Capitol Hill is back open, sort of. Some public Capitol Hill tours will start back up next week. A notice sent to members and staff says there will be a limited number of member-led, staff-led tours and school groups starting Monday. The U.S. Capitol has been shut down to the public for 2 years because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Medical experts say COVID-19 cases continue to go in the right direction, down. And because of that, many states have lifted restrictions. But the nation's top infectious disease doctor, Anthony Fauci, says we might see an uptick in cases due to the lifting of restrictions in the next week or so.
I believe that one has to accept the inevitability that when you go from a reasonably strict indoor masking recommendation, and then you have the overwhelming majority of the country now assuming activities indoors without masks, as long as there's virus circulating in the community, you can be almost certain that you are going to see an uptick. The real question is, what extent of an uptick is it going to be? And we'll just have to wait and see.
Fauci also said if the numbers do go up, he doesn't think people have the energy for more mask mandates.
Now coming up, SUNY Plattsburgh students are not happy with the school's current masking policy, and a look at this week's weather. All of this and more as PS News will return right after the break. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is John Lynch. I'm the president of the school's animation club. While other colleges' animation clubs strive to only show just straight anime, our club tries to be something different, as we show a variety of things such as Western animation, Eastern animation, internet animation, films, and so much more. If you want to meet people who have like-minded taste in animation, then feel free to come on down to our club.
Good evening, I'm your meteorologist, Jason Lynch. Let's take a look at the weather near you. On Tuesday, we got low 30s and a little bit of clouds. On Wednesday, temperature rises quite a little bit, high 30s with a little bit more clouds. And then Thursday, as the temperature gets warmer, so does the rain. As the rain is going to be, it's going to be raining on Thursday in the high 50s. And then on Friday, there's going to be more rain, and it's going to be in the mid 40s. And on Saturday, no more rain, but it's a little bit cloudy still, and it's still in the mid 40s. That's all for the 5-day forecast. Now, let's stay with us as we take a look at. Okay, we'll catch you after the break. There was supposed to be.
Botany Club is a group of students who enjoy learning about and experiencing the natural world, especially plants, through various activities, trips, and service projects. If you're interested in joining Botany Club, please join us at Hudson Hall on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And for more information, reach out to us on Instagram at Botanical Society SUNY Platts. Hope to see you there.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some news happening locally. 2021 was a big year for bonuses on Wall Street anyway. The average Wall Street bonus hit a record high of $257,500, up 20% from the year before. The bonus estimates came out Wednesday and are clearly good news for workers in the securities industry who make up 5% of private workers in New York City. They're not the only ones, since their pay accounts for 1/5 of the city's private sector wages, high bonuses, and are also good news for the city's tax revenue. And officials estimate New York City will exceed its expected revenue from income taxes because of the high payouts. The record high bonuses are being attributed to Wall Street high profits. But officials warn the uneven economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic and international turmoil could drive this year's bonuses lower. Now coming up, Adidas is getting into the college athlete endorsement game. Stay with us.
So people should join Quake because it is the only radio station here on campus where you get to control everything. You get to have your own music. You can talk about whatever you want. I mean, this semester alone, they want to do a lot of sports shows. They also have somebody who wants to talk about true crime. Me personally, I'm big into music. Quake is one of those groups where we want diversity and we want to just have a good time.
Hey, how are you? I'm that sports guy, Jason Lynch. Let's take a look at some sports news. Adidas is getting in on the college athlete endorsement game in a big way. But instead of going after the highest profile players, it's going after thousands of them. The company announced Wednesday it's creating a program for up to 50,000 college athletes to become paid endorsers for the brand. No word on how much the athletes will be getting, but it'll be open to college athletes at 109 Division I schools, making Adidas the first major sports brand to create a program for paying college athletes. All of this, of course, comes up with the heels of the Supreme Court's decision last year that opened the door for college athletes to make money. Amazon is making a big splash for the new Thursday Night Football NFL show by scoring Al Michaels. Michaels will be leaving his post at NBC Sunday Night Football to take over hosting duties at the streaming service. In a statement, the legendary broadcaster hailed Amazon's NFL deal as a new frontier in sports television. Amazon's Thursday Night Football package is part of the NFL's new 11-year, $100 billion TV deal. Michaels, who has called more Super Bowls than any other announcer, kicks off the season on September 15th. He'll be joined in the booth by Kirk Herbstreit, who will continue to do double duty at ESPN covering college football and the NFL draft. Thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time.
All right. One busy man tonight with sports and weather. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. To stay up to date with PS News and PSTV programming, be sure to follow at Plattsburgh State TV on all of our social media platforms.
For the crew here at PSTV, thank you for joining us and have a great night, Plattsburgh.